I'm John Storms, and today I am showing off what I got at Light-O-Rama's Mad Grab sale here in 2016. So what I have here are the CF50D Cosmic Color Floods. These are RGB floods, and they're 50 watts each. Now, if you've looked at previous videos, you'll know that I've done the 10 watt floods of a bunch of those, and just for comparison, that's what their big brothers look like compared to their little 10 watt brothers. So these are 50 watts, this is 10. Now, there's quite a bit of differences, okay? The 10 watt floods just have one cable coming out of them, and it has 4 core, and it's pretty much treated just like a dumb RGB device. These guys are a little bit different. If you look down here, there's a whole bunch of wires coming out. So I believe this first one here, this one, is the power connection. And then these other two are communications. These are basically Cat5 wires with waterproof connectors. And then there's this little cap here, and if you remove them, there's a special cable you can get and feed into there, which will allow you to have input triggers. Because in the back here, what you have is a built-in controller. And that controller, if we pull the cover off, and we will, has a bank of dip switches, which are currently all set to 0, which makes it so it defaults to a unit ID that is built into the flash. And then it also has dip switches that allow you to put it into DMX mode. Okay? But for today, I'm just going to play with them in Light-O-Rama mode. And of course, I got 2 of these, and I plan on sticking them under my big trees in the yard. So let's play. Okay, so next we're going to hook up the first one. I can only hook up one at a time because I want to change their unit ID with the hardware utility, and since they're both currently unit ID number 1, I have to change them one at a time, otherwise they both switch. So the first thing I've done is I broke out my trusty RS-45 adapter with booster. This allows me to go from my PC, from a USB cable, to here. Take a regular old Cat5 cable, plug it into one of these ports. Then I come to one of the waterproof Cat5 cables, and I pull off, unscrew this piece, put the Cat5 cable in there. Then I find one of the power supplies. There it is. There it is. And then I line up the 2 flat parts, screw them together, give that a couple twists, and then I'll plug them in. Now if we have the little cover on the back removed, we would see that the little red light should be flashing when power is applied, and then should go solid when it sees the RS-45 signal. Okay, so now that that's all set up, next I can go to the PC and get the address set. Okay, so now I got my CF50D, my 50 watt flood, all connected to my Light-O-Rama dongle. So what I do next is I actually get Light-O-Rama started up here. So I start up the control panel. And I like to start from the control panel because it makes sure that the COM port listener is running. So this all works. So it's good to be in it's a good practice to always start things up from the control panel. Then I right click on the light bulb in the system tray, and I go to the hardware utility. So since I haven't hooked this up for a while, I'm going to auto configure the COM port. So it's going to search through, and I found it on COM 3. And I hit refresh, so it finds all the attached devices. Now I'm running Light-O-Rama 4.2.12 Pro. Searching the network. And there it is. So this device has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels. And you go, oh, this is RGB. How can it have 5 channels? Well, 1, 2, and 3 are for RGB. 4 and 5 are for strobe. So 4 says how long to turn the strobe on, 5 says how long to leave it off, and then it will strobe back and forth. And then if there's a UV version of that, and if that was the case, the UV would be on channel 1, 2 and 3 wouldn't do anything, I believe, and then 4 or 5 would be strobe. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to change his unit ID. So he is currently unit ID 1. I'm going to change him to 2. So I'm going to say change 1 to 2, just for the purpose of this test. I hit change unit ID. It says it did it. So now I hit refresh just because I don't trust anything. Now, in order to change the unit ID on this particular device, the dip switches have to be set to all 0. See, and now it says it's 2. So one thing I can do right now, just for grins, is I can say let's go through 1, 2, and 3, and let's chase those on. And that's a quick little test from the hardware utility. And as you can see, it is cycling through red, green, blue really fast. See that? Red, green, blue. Probably help if I turn that one off. See that? Very nice. So it works. Okay, now that we know that it's working, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to say off, stop the test. Now the light is still on green, so I hit lights off, and now they're all off. Okay, so now it's time to go hook up the other floodlight. Okay, so now that we have one of the 50-watt floodlights working, now it's time to get the other one going. So this one is currently unit ID number 2, and this one is still set up for its default setting, which is unit ID number 1. So I come into here, and I need to hook up his power. So I get the other power supply. And fit them in, line up the flat pieces. Oh, this one has a rubber seal. I don't think my other one had a rubber seal. Okay. Come on. Okay. Now we plug him in right there. Okay. And now, just like any other Light-O-Rama device, I'm going to daisy chain these two guys together. Now, if you're doing DMX, you would daisy chain them the same way, because this is an RS-485 serial network. And in this case, I'm running the Light-O-Rama protocol with a switch of a couple dip switches inside the controllers, which we will get to. I can run them in DMX as well. So I take off the connector on one of those, and I run a Cat5 cable from this one to this one. Okay, so the way this works is I have my PC, run a USB cable to the RS-485 USB adapter, have a Cat5 cable going to the first floodlight, and then it comes out, and then on its other connector I have another Cat5 cable going to this guy, the second one, which is actually unit ID 1. It doesn't matter what order they're on, just as long as they have unique numbers. And then this one has another connection coming out, but since I don't have anything else to daisy chain, I leave that disconnected. And then I have both power supplies plugged in and turned on, so I should be ready to go. Okay, so now I'm back at my computer, and I am going to hit refresh. And this time I'm expecting to see 2 devices pop up. Okay, it says found 2 units. This is 1. There's 2. So I've already tested out 2, so I'm going to test out 1. Just hit all on. And suffice to say, it is working. Okay, now I do get times when it turns off, so if I do this, yep, it is cycling through red, green, blue, red, green, red, green, blue, red, green, blue, and everything is great. Okay, lights off. So I have 2 working units. Now I'm going to switch over to the sequence editor. So it's very important that the sequence editor and the hardware editor are never running at the same time. They don't play along. You want to run them one at a time. Okay, so now I come over here and I say sequence editor. And I'm going to say file, new animation sequence. How many channels? I'm going to say 4 channels. Alright, then here I'm going to say insert RGB channel above, and then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say insert RGB channel above. Okay, so my first unit is, hang on. That was just my GoPro turning off. Okay. So I go into here and I'm going to, so this is my, what do they call these things again? CF50D. Okay, CF50D 01. Okay, device type is LOR because I'm using the LOR protocol. Unit ID is 1, and then the circuit ID is 1, 2, 3. This is for the red, green, and blue. Now this one, CF50D, this is going to be channel 4. So this is going to be Strobe On. Not Strobe, yeah, Strobe On. That is 1, channel 4. Okay, and this one, CF50D, strobe off. And this will be channel 5. Okay, and I come over here, I'm going to do the same thing. This is unit 2. So device type is LOR. Unit is 02. Channels are 1, 2, 3 for red, green, blue. I come over here. Strobe on. Channel 4. Strobe off. Channel 5. Unit 2. I set this one up for unit 2. No, this needs to be unit 2 as well. So this first set represents unit 1. The second one represents unit 2. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to cycle through color. So I use the color fade tool, which is really useful for strobes. And so what I'm going to have it do is cycle through red, blue, green, cyan. I'll do 2 more. Purple, and then hot pink. And of course, white. We want to see how the white looks. And then let's do this. Let's have it shoot through a couple of color fades. And then I say swap, and now my blue is there, and I choose this blue. Swap. And I'll go to this green. Swap. Too much. Yellow. Swap. Red.
Okay. Then I take this whole thing, I copy it, paste it, then I'm going to, and let me shrink this down so I can see the whole thing at once. I'm going to take this whole part here, I'm going to select it, go to play, and say loop at the end, play, play range, selection. Okay, so now when I run it, I should have a pretty good test.
Alright, so I come up here and I hit play, and there they are. And they are very bright. It's 100 watts together, 50 watts each. And so you can see it better washing up on the screen here. I mean up on the ceiling. Purple and cayenne, up to yellow, to red. Here it's flashing back and forth. So that's the white. See? So they're both working. And of course they can work independent of each other. Alright. So let's take a look at what those other two. So that's what those the red, green, and blue channels do, and they can easily be programmed. Now let's take a look at these funky strobe channels.
Okay, so back at the documentation on page 11, it talks about the strobe channels. So basically, the fourth channel is the strobe on time, and basically you set this by setting the intensity, and strobe on will go from anywhere from 8.33 microseconds to 83.3 microseconds. So basically, the higher the intensity, the longer the flash. And then channel 5 is the strobe off time. So this tells the device how much time to spend off. So you say how long you want it to be on, how long you want it to be off. Now the strobe off has a special value. If it's set to 1%, this is a special case. So it puts it into a special mode, does not allow it to flash. And what this is supposed to do is make it look more like lightning. So you could transition it from 1% to 2 and back to 1, and that's supposed to make it look like lightning, which that could be pretty cool. So let's go play with that. Okay, so now we're going to play with the strobes. So I have the documentation right here. So strobe time on, so higher intensities result in a longer flash. So if I want to, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for this one, I come over here, I hit my intensity button, and I say change intensities. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want this to be 50%. Okay, apply. Did it do it? Come on. There. So that is 50%. And then strobe off. This is the amount of time it's off. So higher intensities result in a faster flash. So I want a fast flash. So I'm just going to set this on all the way. Alright. And then I'm going to copy this. I say then we'll do it on the blue one. And then let's see, over here I want to try out that other one. So I'm going to set this up to be 50% here and here. And then it says if you do on the off 1%, 2%, and back to 1, you get a single flash. So we will try that out. This is a mistake. Okay, so these two I'm going to set to 1%. Okay. No, change intensities 1%. Okay, and it's there, but just barely. And then these two, I'm going to change intensities to 2%. Okay, so if I hover over this one, see it says 1%, and I hover over this one, it says nothing. That's 50. Come on, change intensities, 2%. Okay, this says 1%, 2%. Okay, so now I'm going to copy that and paste it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll do the last two there. So they're hard to see, but they should be there, and I'll paste it to have the other one do the same thing. Let's see, 1%, 2%, 1%, 2%, and so on. Okay. And for grins, let's try doing both of these solid on. My guess is this will flash once and then no more. And then let's try setting this up at 50% for both. Like that. And then let me just repeat this last one. Copy. Paste. Paste. Okay. And we should see, I'm going to just play this section and we'll see what the effect that does on the strobes. See, I still have it for play selection. Yep. So we hit play.
There we go. So you get that strobing effect. So you can play with that to get the effects that you like. Now let me do the ceiling. It might be better to see. Now the light's supposed to simulate lightning, and I don't know. Seems okay. But anyway, you get the idea. So you can play with the strobe settings. So these are the two 50-watt floods, and each one has 5 channels, RGB plus strobe on and strobe off. Good times.